insane.
But think about all the guys you fought, Max. I mean, you have fought the best of the best. You fought everybody.
We all have excitement and knockouts. Max Holloway is exactly the one who always delivers gladiatorial fights to the audience. We admire him. But what is it like to be his opponent? To fight against someone who is ready to wage a real war, someone who is willing to die in the octagon to achieve their goals. Today, we're in for some real madness, as the hero of our video is the very embodiment of that. Throw an uppercut on the like button, and let's get started.
Wow, it looks like they're going to swing to the very end. What a finish!
Max Holloway versus Anthony Pettis.
I got a fight to win. I got 25 minutes. I got Anthony Pettis to focus on. We can focus on that stuff after, you know, but at the end of the day, I still got to go there and perform, and that's what I plan on doing, performing.
After the highly publicized fight with Conor McGregor, Max Holloway embarked on a winning streak that lasted 9 fights. For Max, the fight for the interim title became a highlight of his career. The most decorated opponent Max had faced before this fight was Ricardo Lamas, who had lost in a title fight against Jose Aldo.
So this time around, I feel like Max is not going to take me down. That's already in my head. It's impossible. If he does, he's not strong enough to hold me down. And there's no way he's grinding out a 5-round Eddie Alvarez decision on me. So I'm excited to go out there and show the world what I can do.
Anthony Pettis, a 29-year-old veteran and former lightweight champion, found himself in the featherweight division due to a lack of notable opponents and high-profile fights. He scored a victory over Charles Oliveira and earned a shot at the interim title, but he failed to make weight and, even if he won, would not receive the interim belt. Back in 2013, Pettis was slated to be an opponent for Jose Aldo in a title fight in the featherweight division, but instead, he fought Benson Henderson and won the title in the lightweight division. As you can see, Anthony's resume is impressive. However, for Max, his opponent's accomplishments were irrelevant. He stepped into the cage with one goal in mind: to kill or be killed. The interim championship title was on the line, and Holloway was magnificent. He overwhelmed his opponent and neutralized all of his strengths. The experienced and tough Anthony looked like an amateur compared to Max, who was simply head and shoulders above him in every aspect. Having toyed with his opponent long enough, Max cornered his prey and began to pummel him.
See if Holloway becomes the aggressor here. So far, he has. Oh, big shot. Right on cue. And up we go.
It looked like that shot landed in the chest.
Powerful and quick, sharp strikes left Anthony dazed, yet he remained on his feet.
Good leg kick.
The referee quickly intervened and stopped the fight due to Pettis' passive defenses.
He's missing, that's it. Standing. Wow.
Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo. The history of the rivalry between Max and the Brazilian began back in the summer of 2017. At UFC 212 in Rio, they faced off for the first time. Holloway entered the octagon as the interim champion of the league in the featherweight division, while Aldo was the reigning champion. The fight started with Jose holding a slight advantage, but soon Max seized control.
UFC, the interim champ Max Holloway, trying to make it 11 straight wins and leave here the undisputed king of the 45ers.
Now, we were talking about this, Dan. How is Max going to approach this? Conventional, southpaw, we've seen him do both. He's coming out conventional.
Main event, we will recap all of tonight's action from Rio on the UFC 212 post-fight show. Oh! Max Holloway knocks down Jose Aldo! The champ in recovery mode here. Holloway has Aldo mounted. Oh, Aldo trying to stay in this fight.
Closer to the end of the third round, he forced the referee to stop the contest.
That'll do it! Max Holloway!
Thus, he became the undisputed champion of the league. It seemed that after the brutal beating, Aldo would become a broken man.
He had everything I wanted. Now you guys, he was the GOAT. His time is done. Welcome to Bless Era.
However, luck smiled upon the Brazilian, and Frankie Edgar had to withdraw from his December fight against Max Holloway, and Aldo stepped in as a replacement at UFC 218, seizing the opportunity to instantly reclaim his title. In the lead-up to the fight, Jose radiated optimism and assured everyone that he would win. Moreover, the Brazilian was eventually preparing for a third fight with Holloway.
That's the danger and everybody knows it. I must always respect my opponent, no matter who they are, but if I get in there, I'm going to win. That's a fact.
The start of the bout showed that Aldo was capable of backing up his words with actions in the octagon. Yes, he was not as active as his opponent, but he was much more precise. Several of Jose's strikes were genuinely dangerous, and a lightning-fast uppercut at the end of the round earned applause from Holloway. At the beginning of the second 5-minute round, the Hawaiian developed a strategy and began to press forward, but this time more thoughtfully and purposefully. Toward the end of the round, Blessed became more active and landed several dangerous attacks. It turned out those attacks were merely the first warning signs. In the next round, Jose's fans had to ring the alarm bells. In the third 5-minute period, Aldo's conditioning began to falter. Max, sensing this, began to provoke his opponent into an open exchange and ultimately got what he wanted. In this open confrontation, Jose's strength seemed to fade before our eyes, and he was clearly losing the exchange, absorbing numerous heavy strikes and effectively taking them on the chin. With a minute left in the round, the Brazilian attempted to save himself on the ground, but even on the canvas, Holloway was merciless, finishing his opponent with a flurry of strikes and forcing Herbert Dean to stop the one-sided beating.
Max Holloway has defended his undisputed featherweight championship
Just 9 seconds before the end of the round. It was brilliant, if not a masterful victory for Max.
Max blessed Holloway. The winning streak is a dozen. And look what he just did to the consensus greatest featherweight of all time.
Toronto. Brazil was cold as shit too. Here's cold as shit. They can't ice the Hawaiian, bro. So I had to bring the heat. This side is called lava.
Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. If you still don't understand why Max is considered one of the most brutal fighters in the organization, let us explain. Throughout his entire UFC career, Blessed has only lost to champions or those destined to become champions. The magnificent blood duology with Dustin Poirier, which even resulted in 2 losses for Max, earned him the title of toughest guy in the division. This epic fight with Conor McGregor, where the young and inexperienced Max posed numerous problems for his opponents. The outstanding trilogy with Alexander Volkanovski, where he was challenging the accomplishments of the greatest fighter in the lightweight division's history, and also forced him into a bloody and brutal war. Even in his last bout against Volk, pride and inspiration were evident in the eyes of his fans, as this guy simply fought until the end and didn't give up, even when others would have faltered. As for his fighting career, Max reached his peak in 2021. He evolved as a fighter, making enormous leaps in skills, technique, and overall ability. Against the strong and confident prospect Arnold Allen, Max entered the octagon after a loss to Volk, but this did not break him at all.
And now the former champ, future Hall of Famer, but not done, Max Holloway. Still fighting for that top spot in featherweight. You want that belt back. What can you tell this crowd on the eve of another big fight?
Tune in, free on ESPN, get it while you can. It's gonna be super fun, guys. We're gonna go out there. I'm gonna be reminding people why I'm still here. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Max returned to the big game, and he was determined to shift the balance of power in the division and set an absolute record in the organization. Despite Allen being younger, having better conditioning, and having a physical advantage, that night Blessed met all the expectations placed upon him. Max delivered a 5-round beating in spectacular fashion. His phenomenal footwork, masterful distance management, lightning-fast strikes, and powerful combinations were executed so well that he was regarded as one of the best strikers in the promotion. As a result, American Max Holloway defeated the top prospect in the division in the main event of the evening by unanimous decision. He made history in the UFC by becoming the first fighter to land 3,000 significant strikes in the promotion.
I thought he'd be a little bit more inexperienced, but he rang it tonight. He came 5 rounds. I thought he was going to be way more desperate, but he was super smart. I mean, he got a great team behind him. You know, he got the great Frost in this corner, so the game planning was there, and I think he's up there for sure.
Yeah.
Great performance. No, he's he's as good as the best in the world.
Yeah.
Don't feel down. It was an amazing fight. It really was. It really was. You should be proud of yourself.
I wanted to show him, bro. If you guys want to see a clinic, I can do a clinic without getting hit. You know, the Cater fight, a lot of people said, yeah, he did that, but he still is getting hit a bunch. So this one, I was like, let me see if I can land and not get hit. You know, a little Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones Jr. in his prime kind of thing.
Max Holloway versus Korean Zombie. We all know the legendary fighter known as the Korean Zombie, right? His legendary bouts, spectacular knockouts, and amazing submissions. This fighter is an honor of the UFC Hall of Fame, representing one of the toughest challenges in every fighter's career. His fights and legacy speak for themselves, but the hero of today's episode became the one who quite literally destroyed the legend of the sport and sent him into a well-deserved retirement. For Holloway, this was yet another opportunity to fight for the title again. The featherweight division has long been ruled by a dual monarchy. Volkanovski has beaten Max 3 times and keeps him away from the title, while Max, in turn, is taking down all the contenders and preventing them from even gaining a title shot. The Australian jokingly mentioned that he hopes Holloway moves up to the lightweight division so he can stop beating his opponents. Max is generally open to the idea of moving up in weight and has already voiced his thoughts on it. However, there is a catch. He wants to do it as the champion of the featherweight division. Of course, first he needs to deal with the Korean Zombie. Despite being the underdog and an MMA veteran, he still hits very hard and can pose a lot of problems. But we know Holloway has a solid chin and is ready for exchanges, which guaranteed an exciting matchup.
I'm going towards the end of my career, so I wanted to do all the decision making. I wanted to do it my way, and I didn't want to blame other people for my loss if it happens, so that's why I wanted to do all the game planning and have fight camp by myself.
The first minute and a half saw the fighters engage in a bit of reconnaissance and search for the right distance. After that, the action became more active, initiated by the Korean. Holloway gladly accepted the exchanges and reminded everyone that he wouldn't be easily overwhelmed. Max attempted to attack in a diverse manner, not forgetting to work the body, but Zombie countered with jumping attacks that he often landed. In the second round, we experienced an exciting showcase. Chung Chun-sung aimed to stick to the same strategy, but Holloway was ready and knocked his opponent out with a powerful strike. Zombie was saved only by the fact that Max believed in a clean knockout and hesitated, allowing Zombie to attempt a chokehold. The Korean endured this, later recovering and even trying to counterattack. However, Holloway was clearly the better fighter and took the round without question. From the first second of the third round, Zombie showed he was alive and wanted to engage in a no-holds-barred brawl. Max always accepts such challenges, and he did this time as well. After a few seconds of fierce exchanges, Bless knocked out his opponent with a cold right hook.
Legend.
Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. In the third most significant fight of UFC 300, fans were treated to the most exciting performance of the anniversary event, as Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway were set to determine the holder of the BMF title. Gaethje claimed this title in July 2023 when he knocked out Dustin Poirier with a high kick in the second round. Justin avenged his loss from 5 years ago, and he was awarded by the former and first ever holder of the symbolic title, Jorge Masvidal. At UFC 300, Gaethje made the first defense of the BMF title against the featherweight Max Holloway, who moved up to the lightweight division for the opportunity. Max moved up in weight without any specific title ambitions, but for the sake of an exciting fight, especially since Dana White promised a six-fold increase in bonuses. Instead of $50,000, they were paying $300,000 that evening. The entire fight took place on the feet. In the final seconds of the first round, Holloway executed a magnificent spinning kick, breaking Gaethje's nose, which subsequently bled regularly. In the second round, the former UFC featherweight champ accidentally poked Gaethje in the eye twice, but the referee opted not to deduct a point and issued only a warning. In the third round, Holloway rocked his opponent but couldn't finish him. In the fourth round, it was Gaethje who landed precise shots, briefly sending his fellow countrymen to the canvas. As the fight progressed, tensions escalated, and a knockout in the fifth round seemed inevitable. Both fighters were known for their strong chins and extraordinary resilience. Neither wanted to give up, and after nearly 5 full rounds of gladiatorial combat, with just 10 seconds remaining before the final bell, Holloway called out his opponent to stand and trade in the center of the octagon. Gaethje accepted the challenge, and the fighters began engaging in strikes. In the end, Holloway knocked out his opponent with just 1 second left in the fight. Setting the UFC record for the latest finish and becoming the new holder of the BMF title. Just look at the reactions from the fighters in the UFC.
Max Holloway knocks out cold. Face plants Justin Gaethje. After dominating him for 5 rounds.
He's going to do with it. But I can tell you what I hope he does. Whether he stays at 55 or he drops to 45, I hope he defends it.
Friends, this is how we see Max Holloway. If he can overcome Ilia Topuria, he will become the first champion in UFC history to hold both a championship title and the BMF title. Max, it's time to make history again. Thanks for watching the video to the end. Share your thoughts in the comments. This was the Beast Model MMA team. See you soon.